Good afternoon to everyone that's behind the scenes watching. If you're listening, feel free to let us know who you are if you're in the chat, especially if you want to ask some questions to the author. And we're going to get started. If you're not familiar with our channel, we are Dooley and Zoe on behalf of Zoe Life CCP.
What it do?
Coaching, consulting, and publishing is what we do, and we are here to interview our latest new author, Mr. Quincy R. Phillips Sr. And so we're just going to allow him to speak.
Okay. Did I go off the camera? I'm sorry. I went off the camera. Okay. All right, here we go.
Okay. Repping his new custody calling commitment T. Okay.
All right. Yep. How everybody doing?
So yeah, y'all, if you're out there, feel free to communicate with us, and thank you for joining. And we're just gonna go ahead and get this interview started. It's been quite a journey getting here, several years of a journey getting here to this point. So we are very honored to just get into the journey of the book itself, the author's journey, the writing process, and maybe give you guys a sneak peek of what you can look forward to from this. This is not just a title. This is a movement. I can guarantee you that. So you are, we believe, on the brink of witnessing history being made. So,
Right.
question number one.
Before, like, this is like more so the story behind the book.
Yeah.
You know? Because a lot of time, man, we get a chance to get the product or get the book or the song, and we don't get to understand what drawed or what inspired the story. So we want you to just be as comfortable as you can, Q. You know, as transparent as you can, man. Because we know some of them may require some vulnerability. You know,
Okay.
before they may tune in and tap in, man. It may be revival for them. So the first one would be, what inspired you to write Custody Calling Commitment? And why did you feel the story would need to be told?
My inspiration for writing Custody Calling Commitment was, there were a few things that factored into it. I'll just start off by saying, I always remember growing up hearing women say, for one, that men can't do what a woman can do, especially in the area of raising children. And I would hear women talk about, everything that goes along with it, cooking, cleaning, signing up for school, homework, this, that, and the third. So I heard that my entire life. And when I was thrust into this position to do it, I wanted to not necessarily prove people wrong, because it's not about that. I just wanted to do the best job that I could possibly do in raising my son. And so I got custody of him when he was 2. That's when me and his mom split. So immediately I was thrown into the fire. And they came with a lot of challenges. Raising a child, period, in general, whether you're doing it as a couple or as a single person, it is very challenging. Now, when you're talking about doing it as a father, that presents a different level of challenges, because a lot of people don't respect single fathers. And I'm speaking firsthand, nothing that I heard, but just my experiences. One that stands out is, I remember when I first got ready to sign him up for kindergarten, I come with all of his paperwork. I mean, shot records, everything, social security card, birth certificate. I got my ID, everything that says I'm his father. The birth certificate with my name on it, we got the same name. And I remember, like yesterday, the lady told me, we're gonna need to speak to his mom. Why? Why would we need to speak to his mom? I got everything. Well, we just need to make sure that everything is on the up and up. And I'm like, this is everything. This is everything you need. So they took me away. And so I left her number, and they called her, and I don't think I was home 2 or 3 minutes before they were calling me back to come up there to talk. But she told me that you had custody of him, and so we can move forward with you. I said, you shouldn't have come to that. I said, I'm his dad. Okay, and I proved everything. I brought all the necessary paperwork to prove who I was. So there was no reason. You should never have to call her. But anyway, I faced situations like that throughout the past 16 years. He's 18 now. Like I said, we started this journey when he was 2. So for 16 years, I faced situations like, well, I didn't get the benefit of the doubt. People like, well, where's mom? I'm like, okay, I don't know. She's at home at work. I mean, what do you need?
Yeah.
I could understand if it was a question that they asked me about him or a piece of information that they needed that I didn't have. I can get that. Where's his mom? But when I show up, everything is in a folder. It's been like that for the past 6 years. I got everything you need when it comes to him, from shop records, dealer records, birth certificates. I got it. So there's no need to go. And I knew that I was going to have everything lined up moving forward. That first experience, when I started, I knew from that day forward, listen, you gotta dot all your I's and cross all your T's, because there's a lot of people out not respecting what you do. And the other reason why I wrote this book is because I coached my son football, baseball, basketball, soccer. And I'm telling you, I was at every doctor's appointment, did his support, whatever he had, I was there. But what I didn't see for the most part were other fathers. The room was about 95 to 99% women. And a lot of time I was like the odd man out. And I'm looking at these kids, I'm talking about from 2, because that's when I started my son. You know, when you got a doctor's appointment with your kids, you're going to be in that same rotation with the same people every month. Whenever that doctor, you with the same people. It's not no new people coming in. So you're actually watching other kids grow up over the years.
Right.
Lose teeth, hair grow, patches.
Right.
You watching other people's kids. So and so that, along with coaching and looking in the stands and seeing moms and not seeing dad, looking at the face of kids when other people, me being there with my dad, I was like the look I would get from kids would be like, oh, you here. I mean, you're a dad that's here. And my heart went out for those kids. It really did, because I wish they had a dad or at least a father figure that was there for them, cheering them on. And I don't think people understand how important that is, to have your father to actually be there, support you and cheer you on. The inspiration behind this book, the biggest, is, listen, I want to encourage fathers to be a part of their kids' life. I really don't think most parents, mothers or fathers, really realize the importance of having a dad in his life. That's like your anchor. It's your foundation. Like, you cannot build a house or a building without a foundation. And the taller you want the house to be, the deeper the foundation has to go. That foundation is dad. That's where a kid's identity comes from. You understand what I'm saying? All of my kids' last name are Phillips, fortunately. And I believe the purpose for that is for that child to identify the tree that it came from. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm a Phillip. All of my kids have my DNA running them, and there's going to be certain things about them that they get from me, certain mannerisms, certain ways, DNA. So if you cut that off, that leaves a child trying to connect with where they came from, and they won't even fully understand themselves. You have to have the father in the life of a child to fully understand who they are. You need the daddy. Not saying the child can't make it without their dad, not saying they can't be successful, because they can. There are many cases where there are kids out here that are grown on to be productive citizens, men and women, and never saw their dad. But I'm telling you, an active and proactive dad makes the situation in the process a lot smoother and a lot easy if he's there doing what he's supposed to do, leading, guiding, and nurturing. So those were two of the things that fueled me most and made me want to write this book. Like I said, this book is about encouraging. It's not just for fathers, it's for mothers as well. Because I've been in a situation and I've known a situation. Sometimes if it don't work out between the mama and the dad, sometimes the mama will hold that child and use it against the dad and actually block him from being in the child's life. And that is so detrimental. Does it hurt the dad? Absolutely. But it hurt that kid a whole lot more when
Exactly.
you block them from the
Exactly.
tree that they came from.
Exactly.
And so I'm hoping that mothers will also purchase this book and will also read the story. I mean, I got some stuff in here. It gets real personal.
Yeah.
It ain't all pretty, you know.
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine, you
But it's
know. I
there
got
though.
some good and some bad, but it's the
Yeah.
truth. It's the truth. So I one thing I have not really done, and I'm not one of the person that just open up. I don't open up easily. You got to get to know me, and I'm telling you, you got to peel me back like an onion, because I just don't open up like that. I'm not a show and tell. But in this book, I gave up a lot for free.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be, anybody that want to know anything about me or what I've been doing for the past 16 years, what it's been like. You want to get this book.
It's interesting that you go into that, because the next question was, what emotion did you navigate while writing, navigate through?
Every I pretty much experienced every emotion that I went through the past 16 years. Because in order to write something, you got to relive it. You have to actually think about it and process it. So there were times when I was writing this book and I would smile and laugh out loud. Like the thing I was writing had just happened. I mean, it really brought a joy, because to me, being a parent is it's joyful to me. It's work, but I mean, I enjoy being a parent. I mean, I love it. I get up every day and lace my boots up and, hey, how can I be the best parent I can be today?
So it like an emotional roller coaster, but in your sense, you talking about the balance, the peaks, the highs and the lows of the journey more. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a good way to put it, because we got a chance to see, especially me. I wouldn't knew none of the things you're gonna be intimate about. All I'm seeing is the results. I'm like, okay, every time I'm posting, touchdown here, record breaking here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To hear that you're saying, okay, behind all those things, also there's some things that left you vulnerable, but it all leads. Yeah, I know why you were touching them emotions. It kind of helped you kind of come full circle with the story of seeing where it's at now. Again, though, probably is a lot more sweeter because you've seen more of what happened because of those things, or during those things.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you the other part about it, because there were a lot of laughs, but I also cried a lot of tears, because I write about the not so good part. I write about the part that hurt me, the part that really went down and transformed me as a person, as a human being, as a man. And I shed some tears. There was some time when I had to stop, get myself together, recompose, because again, you can't write about something without experiencing that emotion. There's no disconnect. You cannot disconnect. And there was one part in this book, I'm telling you, when I wrote it, I cried. So hopefully the readers, when they get this book, hopefully they will actually feel and experience these emotions, because a lot of time when people look at men, it's almost like we superhuman and like we don't have feelings, like we don't hurt. I remember growing up as a kid, they say men ain't supposed to cry. That's a lie. Okay, Jesus wept. Yeshua, he wept. Okay, so it's okay to cry if you're a guy, don't. But that's the way we were brought up. And so a lot of times when we're feeling a certain kind of way, we'll hide that back. I remember going to funerals. I hate going to funerals. They're sad. So I'm in there trying to keep my face straight and, tighten up my eye ducts so I won't no tear fall. And I've been successful at quite a few funerals. And then some of them I just can't hold it. But it is okay as men to feel how you feel. It is okay to cry, and it is okay to release. Crying is a form of healing. You either got tears of joy, tears of happiness, sadness, or something. But either way it goes, it's a healing process, because you can become overjoyed, and that your pressure go up, and you can hyperventilate, and you can become over saddened, and you be like down in the dumps, leading into depression. So tears is a form of healing, and like I said, when I was writing this book, it was a roller coaster. There was some good days when I smiled and I laughed, and there was some moments when I cried and I was sad, and it was like it was happening all over again, because I had to relive that. So,
Have you ever been part of such a intimate process? Because I know you're sharing this with the public. Has this your first time? Because we see you as a barber. Now we see you as an officer. Of the law.
uh,
So doing something, and
mhm.
this is like your first.
By far, this is the most intimate I have ever been about my personal life. Never. There may be a few people that I told a piece to, that asked about something, but just the way I open up in this book, no, this whoever get this it's gonna make you wonder. Some of it might be hard to believe, because I don't wear what I'm going through on my sleeve. So when I'm going through hard times, I don't come out with my head down and like it's the end of the world. I'm gonna pretty much come out the same way every day, whether I got $1,000,000 or whether I got $100. I ain't never had 1,000,000 yet. It's coming, but I'm just saying you won't be able to tell the difference, because I just come out every day and I find the good in life. It don't matter how bad things are going. Somebody's doing worse. No matter how bad I'm doing, I could be doing worse. And so that's one of the ways I got through this process. When things got really bad, I was like, listen,
You
it
was
could be
able to find
worse.
the silver lining.
Silver lining, that's what you have to do. When things are not going the way you want them to go, you have to find the silver lining, because whatever you focus on magnifies. If you focus on the bad, it's going to multiply, it's going to intensify. But if you focus on the good, it's going to intensify. So I just had to always find the silver lining and just look for what was going right. And for me, I had custody of my son, and that meant the world.
That is. The second. Next question.
As far as the title meaning, the title is very powerful. It's positive, but it's very powerful. Even as you've shown us on the shirt as well, it's more of a staple or a statement for us the movement right now. So custody, call, and commitment. What does each word represent in the context of the story?
Well, custody is pretty much what it said. It's talking about the custody. The way our laws are set up, if two people have a child and they are not married, that child automatically goes to the mom. It's the way our system is set up. Okay? And if you want custody, you have to, there's two ways you can go about it. You can go through the court system, or you and the other parent can come to an agreement as to who has custody. In my situation, I was blessed. Me and his mom agreed. I didn't have to get no lawyer. We didn't fight. We didn't go back together. We both thought it would be best if I raised him. Okay, so when we're talking about the custody part of the book, that's exactly what it is. It's very rare that you find a man with custody of a child, especially at such a young age. Like I say, this transaction, the transition started when he was 2. He was actually 3 when the paperwork went through. Okay, he just turned 3, but that represents me having legal custody. That's what that part of the title. I have legal custody of him. The calling represents just what it says. The calling. It's one thing to get something, to obtain something, custody, a car, a vehicle, a house, a job. But there's a responsibility that comes with that.
The purpose.
And that's where the calling, there's a purpose behind it. And that's where the calling comes in. Hey, you got custody of your son, this is what you was called to do. And it's a lot. And it's a day by, there's no list on it. You just have to be led by the Most High God on what to do and how to raise your child. Because that's another thing I tell people. People have asked me over the years, well, how you get him to do this? How you get him to do it? How did this work? And I explain to people some of the things I did, but I always leave people with this. Just because it worked for me and it's good for my son, don't mean it'll work for you. It'll be good for your son. You have to go before the Most High God and get specific instructions for your child. Because what makes my son click might not necessarily make yours. You understand what I'm saying? And the biggest part of that is actually knowing your child. And the way you get to know your child is spending time. See, I know when to back up off my son. There's sometimes when I can press, but sometimes he'll give me a look or his body language will change to a certain way. And I know, hey, I need to back up off it. Not because I'm scared of him. Not because I'm fearful. None of that. Because this is a human being with feelings. Okay? And they got limits too. And what you never want to do is exasperate your child. You don't ever want to keep coming at your child. I'm your daddy. You got no. These are human beings, whether it's a boy or girl. Okay, they got feelings, and there should be some kind of boundaries. And when you get to know your child, you know sometimes it's time to back up. And so those are some of the things that parents, I believe, need to incorporate when they're raising children. You know, when I was growing up, and I think everybody else was growing up, that I know of, you know, your mom and dad say something and you say something, it's because I said something. Mm-hmm. If you got to that point without getting your chop knocked off, you probably better walk away right there and don't say nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Because I said so, mean, don't you say another word about this. Because if you do, you might experience some extreme discomfort. Okay?
Yep.
With my kids, there were some because I said so moments. I never said that, but for the most part, I have always encouraged my children to speak their heart, to speak their mind. I've always given them the freedom to tell me however they feel about me, the way I discipline them, the rules I got set in place. My only requirement was that you do it with respect. Dad, can I talk to you about something? This is how I feel about this. When you said this, it made me feel like that. When you told me I couldn't do, now we can have a conversation about it.
It gives you a chance to have some dialogue besides just
absolutely
with an iron fist, as they would say.
Absolutely, because as much as we love our kids as parents, sometimes we wrong. And I've had to apologize to my kids several times, and I'm not above, and I still will. Sometimes you just wrong. We mean well, but we are human. And what we need to understand is that our children are human too. They mean well, and sometimes they're going to mess up, and you don't always just come down and beat them down when they mess up. You see what I'm saying? But you also have to leave room for them to open up to you, to be honest about how they're feeling, what they're going through, what they're dealing with. Because if you close that door on them, if you say things got to be this way, the moment your child feel like they can't talk to somebody else, talk to you, they're going to go find somebody else.
Exactly.
Now you open up a whole nother door, because depending on what they telling them, how they leading them, they're going to take them down a rabbit hole. So if they're going to go somewhere, you want to make sure you're the one taking them. So you have to leave the doors of communication. You have to make your children feel comfortable discussing whatever with you. Good, bad, ugly, right, wrong. They should be able to come to you and say, Dad, this is how I feel. Mom, this is how I feel. This is what I got going on. This is what I'm thinking, without you snatching their soul from them.
Exactly. So through the process of writing the book, what have you learned just about the family dynamics, commitment, and personal growth? And what I'm asking is more so related to the journey of actually writing the book, the writing process itself. How did that challenge you in any
Hold on.
way?
It challenged me to be more thoughtful about my day-to-day parenting. Because when you talk about reading a book, okay, people gonna read this book, okay, and so you have to make sure that you are evolving and becoming better. Because my goal every day is to be a better. I've never got to the point, or even got close to the point where I said, "Well, yeah, I got this figured out." Because you can never figure parenting out. It's a day by day process, and as your kids grow older and mature, they begin to change. So that means you have to adjust your parenting. So going through this process of writing has allowed me and forced me to focus and reflect on where it all started, and the process all the way up into now. And it forced me to look back on how I changed as a parent, because you don't parent an 18-year-old the way you parent a 2-year-old. You see what I'm saying? So as they get older, you start to give them a little more freedom. You kind of back up off. You tell them something a few times, hey, don't do this, this gonna happen, and you see they still gonna do it. One of the toughest things about parents is stepping back and let them bump their head. Sometimes you have to step back and they blooka, blooka, blooka. Then they come back and I tried to tell you about that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
writing this book, patience is one of the most the thing that stands out right now, writing this book, and what it has taught me patience, because you have to allow and trust that what you put into your kids, they're going to live it out. But you have to understand that they are human beings that don't have the maturity that you have. So you have to give them allowance to make mistakes, to mess up, and to go against what you taught them. Because sometimes they think they're smarter than we are. They think we just tripping and we old and we old fashioned. That's the way y'all did it back then, but this 2025, and we don't do it like that no more. All right,
yeah,
but there's some standards that's gonna work throughout eternity. There's some stuff in that Bible that it never changes.
exactly.
Yeah, that Bible don't change, and what God said does not change.
I like how like a lot of
So
times it be just good principles. We'll be standing on the biblical, but thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not kill. Them good principles at the end of the day. I'll be passing along good principles the whole time. It's a biblical foundation. But yeah, man, I like how you put that, man.
absolutely,
Sometimes man, we make it feel like coming down or having a set way for the kids is so bad. Now it's like you're so hard on them or harsh when at the end of the day it's not. Because the world 10 times, I'm gonna say worse than that, but what the world got for them is way more than that. At least you're doing it with love. The
absolutely,
Lord help them set a foundation that they can carry on versus to break them down. And the breakdown is a breakdown to build up. Something need to come out of us. You may need to come out of our ways. I just like how you put that, man.
absolutely, man. I think that's what's wrong with a lot of these kids now. They don't have structure and discipline. So these kids are just pretty much allowed to do what they want to do, how they want to do, with uh, no consequences, none. They just, I've been in the school, and I can't tell you how many times I've been in the school. Not just now, but even when I was back at home and in the barbershop, I go in there for whatever reason to see my son. A child is in the office because they cussed the teacher out and wouldn't get off their cell phone, and I happened to be there when Mama come through the door. And in my mind, I'm thinking about the way my mama was, because when my mama come through the door, I'm gonna have to take cover. No. A lot of times these parents, they coming for the teacher. Like your child has said, he admitted to cursing the teacher out, using profanity, wouldn't get off the phone and
Now
leave
it's
clear.
about the inconvenience. We'll be worried about the inconvenience over the whole
Right.
root of the problem. We can't get to the root.
Absolutely.
Well, now we the inconvenience you to come up here. But if you can start this when
Absolutely.
we get, when nobody have to get out of, they won't be inconvenienced. You won't be inconvenienced. You know, it could be inconvenienced.
Absolutely, bro.
It's crazy to hear you still say that because I done heard that before, like 20 years ago, like 10 years ago, and it's still like a prevalent thing now. We can't be a
It's
community.
worse.
I remember those stories. My dad 30 years older than me. I'm 35 this year. So he tell me about them times, you know, in the 70s, you know, 70s and 60s and things like that, how, you know, the neighborhood was able to keep you in line, you know, help, you know, and was able to do so without it being so much pressure. Why did you do it? It was needed. And then when you got home and they found out it happened like that, they checking you still because you know better than that. But at least right then and there get corrected. Now we almost gotta turn our head or keep moving and wondering why, you know, we can't do anything like community, man. So not only you're addressing a family foundational problem, it's become a community problem because it starts at home. You know, that's where it's begun.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely, man. You're absolutely right, man. When I was growing up, anybody could whoop me, and not only could anybody whoop me. When I got back home, my mom was gonna whoop me. And when my dad finally made it home from work, he was gonna whoop me again for the same thing. I got 3 whoopings. I got
hey,
Same thing.
Eddie down the street already told me up, and then I got home. Mama got me, and here come Daddy. Daddy got the hip hand.
but
Daddy be
what
swinging for the fence.
resonate with what you said in that story and what I tell my wife about. A lot of time I be dealing with situations and the people have an opinion, but none of them grew up with a father. And I'd be like, okay, that's kind of weird that they're very strong about their opinion and they didn't have to come home to a dad. I had to come home to a dad, and I think that's a whole lot different coming home to mama. It's like you gotta answer you gotta answer to him when you get home, and he about to out about something. You know, my dad's 62. So you feel what I'm saying? It's like a giant coming home. You know, I'm like, man, I do everything and anything for her to actually just deal with him. I think that's a whole nother negotiating tool with a man. I tell her about that. I'm like, man, you can tell some guys that they just do any kind of thing. I'm like, bro, he ain't had no big brother. So with my brother, you weren't finna do that. That's your big brother. I didn't have, it was just me and him. And I'm just saying for a system of order, you know, what order looks like, and from a man, and when it's masculine, you know, I don't want to just say a man because nowadays it's them and him and him. But for this conversation, the masculinity that we're talking about, you know, it does something different to the temperature of a house when it's there. And I think you can't it, or you don't know nothing about it if you ain't grow up in it. And I heard you say that at the end. And all them equations sounded terrible. But then you got to the end, I was like, oh, like there's still like you would think he would have some complaints. Oh, they got you already. Cool. Like no, because he got a whole different standard for you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like
it's different because it shouldn't have never got to my dad. So my dad has got the attitude. If I got to hear about it, I got to do something about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You did this and it made its way back to me. I got to do something about it. And because it clearly there's a problem here. And it's like you say, having that dad, it's just different. Like my dad came home, we tiptoed. It was like a fear. Like not no abuse. My dad wasn't abusive or anything like that, but that was dad. Like when he said something, that what it was. Hey, you better get with it.
I think this word resonates a lot. I think it was a different level of pressure.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's
different
a different level of pressure there, knowing that that's what you have to do at the end of the day by verbatim mom. Now don't get me wrong, mom gonna do what she do too now, yeah. But you know, it's just different.
Wow. I just had to sit back on the dialogue because, you know.
Yeah. Man, we just went down memory lane on that.
I love it, and that's one of the reasons I do support fatherhood the way that I do because, you know, and my mom, don't get me wrong, she did a wonderful job, but you know, she did the job of the masculine, you know, and so it was, you know, there's some other things that were neglected there because that's the role that she took on. But at the end of the day, nothing can replace that, and that's what this book, you know, really drives home. Like, you need that father figure. And so coming full circle once again into how it just flowed into the conversation of the next question. We're at the point, you know, I can't call him look. We used to call him Look Quincy, but I'm like, like Quincy now, Quincy Jr. You know, you raised them. You know, the Most High has been so gracious over this journey, and you know, you've shown in action what that looks like. And now, what's next for you in the process of, you know, writing this book and going beyond the book? Explain the movement, you know, that you can foresee that you want to initiate and see really change the community with this book.
Okay, so with this book, hopefully this book will inspire fathers who are analyzing their children, you know, to just every day to strive to be an even better father. Hopefully the ones who are not in their children's lives, hopefully this will inspire them to do so. And moving forward, apart from this book, you know, I would like to start setting up maybe workshops, doing engagements, getting into speaking, getting into the schools. Anybody that'll listen. I'll talk to anybody that will listen about this, because this is something in my heart. You know, you don't really, I believe you can't fully enjoy life until you find your purpose. And it don't matter how much money you make on a job, there's still going to be a certain level of emptiness there. But once you find something that you are passionate about, something that the Most High put there, and you grab a hold of that, that's something that you can do for free. You know what I'm saying? And this is the one thing that I'm passionate about. I love encouraging, inspiring, and motivating people. And I believe the biggest issue we're having in the Black community is a lack of fatherlessness. I mean, fatherless homes. Dads who are not in place doing what they're supposed to do, because a lot of the things we're dealing with, we wouldn't even be dealing with if we had a real strong father in the house. Kind of like what we just got through discussing.
Right.
Listen, when daddy is there and he doing his job, you're going to walk a certain way. It's some stuff that my mama would say something to me, and okay. And then my dad can come look at me without saying anything. You know, it's almost like a drill sergeant. You just snap to attention because that's dad. And so when I look at a lot of what's going on in the streets today, I just see fatherless kids out here that's reckless, that don't have any guidance and structure. So I would like to start getting into the homes, getting into the business, getting into the schools, and speaking about this. And I would like to open up a dialogue to give people time to chime in, because I've had the opportunity to talk to quite a few guys who don't have a dad, and the conversation be the same. It's pretty much, you know, my dad wasn't there, and I didn't have nobody to look up to, so I went to the streets. I looked at the neighborhood drug dealer or the gang leaders, and really what they're looking for is somebody who will accept it, who will love them.
What I hear too, though, they want to be healed, man. We want to be past that trauma. They want to be healed. We want to grow past those things. It's the root, but the root of it, saying, like you're saying, healing. You going through this process and it helps you heal. So it's become something that helps you heal. They can become an outreach to be like the seeding for others to get it. Don't get me wrong, because like
absolutely,
truth's supposed to set you free. It's supposed to be, you know, we are a believer of something that heals, and that's what I just got from hearing you the most. It's like, man, you want to create a conversation or dwelling, a community thing, because I know we just recently revitalized the group on Facebook as well for fathers as well. So it's like your heart is beyond just creating a product to like, you know what I'm saying? Right. You know, this ain't just a product for you. This is an outreach.
Absolutely. Right. That was me being transparent with all of the readers. Hopefully now, once people read this book, they'll be more open to be transparent, because the only way to really deal with issues of the heart and to get healing, you have to open up and talk to somebody about it. Okay, you have to. You can't keep things bottled up, or they will fester, and they will. At some point, it's gonna come out, and it's all about how it comes out. Okay, so you want to be able to release things that hurt you, things that the area that you're not healed in. You want to voluntarily release them. So that they will come out in a way where you can help, versus releasing them and you destroy. For example, if I'm angry because Junebug broke in my car and took all of my stuff. If I can just talk to Junebug right off, you know what I'm saying, after I can cool down initially, that's one thing. But if Junebug done broke in my car and then 2 or 3 weeks go by, and then Ray broke in my car, and then Sam broke in my car, you see, that's building now. And so now, if I catch somebody else, they gonna pay for Junebug, Ray, and everybody else that did something to me. So we need to learn how to get that stuff out. Whatever we're dealing with hurt, because I believe everybody's hurt. I think everybody has trauma. I think we all have areas in our lives where we were hurt, where someone failed us, when someone let us down, and we just pushed it to the side, buried it, kept going or whatever. And we never really dealt with it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with relationships. We have things that we dealt with in past relationships that we did not work our way through, and then it shows up in the new relationship. So with children who don't have their dad in their lives, that bleeds into every area of your life. It really does.
Right.
It really does.
Right.
Who I am as a barber and a police officer, the way I treat the public and the way I'm respectful, it has absolutely nothing to do with the rules of the police department. That was the way I was raised. My daddy taught me to say yes sir, no ma'am, yes ma'am, to be respectful for life. So when I showed up and filled out that application, I didn't need a code of ethics. I didn't need nobody to tell me how to interact with people.
You came with a code.
My daddy taught me that.
Yeah.
You came with a code of
Yeah,
integrity.
my daddy taught me that, okay? And you don't own a business in Greenville, Mississippi and keep the doors open for 17 years without knowing how to talk to people. Because one thing we'll do is we'll leave you high and dry real quick, okay? So it goes back to the way I was raised. My dad instilled a certain amount of principles in the way you talk to people, in the way you can carry yourself, conduct yourself. You give your word you're going to do something, you show up and do it. You do what you said. So all of that, my dad taught me that. My dad taught me that. Nobody, my boss don't have to call me and say, hey, you come to work today? Are you going to stay the whole time? Are you going to do your job? Are you going to talk to people right? You don't have to do that. Why? Because my dad taught me that. And so that's what I want to get with this book. Hopefully, like you say, a bed where people can come and sit and we can open up and talk stuff. And we can begin to make changes that will make our families, our neighborhoods, and our communities a better place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Miss Sharon has a question. I'm going to put it on the stream. She says, how does your personal relationship with Christ help your relationship with your children?
How does my relationship with Christ help my relationship with my children?
Yes.
When my children do something that let's just start off with the good side. Let's start off with the good stuff. Okay. Everybody pretty much knows when if someone asks something of you. If I ask my kids to do something and they do it the way I want them to do it, that's a great day. Hey man, my child is obedient. My child is this. Might even be a little reward or a thank you or a smile or whatever. But when you ask your kids to do something and they don't do it, they go against. Then oftentimes there's some kind of punishment, some repercussion. It's gonna be a talk. It's gonna be something. My relationship with Christ, it allowed me to be more patient with my children because I'm always mindful of the fact that God has specific rules and mandates in place for us as His people. And I'm also often reminded that I don't always keep. Sometimes I go against what God says knowing this ain't the way the Most High will have me to do. He say, don't do this, you need to do this. But sometimes I just want to do things my way. You know, you make me mad. I know I'm supposed to turn the other cheek, but sometimes I be wanting to turn the other person's cheek. Just one time. Yep. One time. Because quit playing with me. You understand what I'm saying? But I have to remember this when raising my children. When I tell them to do something, they don't always do it. Hey, wait a minute. Rebel against God too. Now, that don't mean you just let it slide and don't say nothing. But grace. My relationship with Christ has taught me grace with my children. These are human beings that are trying to find their way into the world. And the older they get, the more they begin to separate themselves. And they're supposed to, because you're going toward adulthood. So you have to become independent thinker, which is something that I raised them up. Hey, think independent. And so grace is one of the biggest things that having a relationship with the Most High has taught me with my kids. You got to have some grace towards your children. And you have to be loving. Even if punishment, even when punishment times to come, shortly after punishment, there has to be a restoration process. You got to restore your kids. Hey, I didn't want to have to do that to you. You did this, but hey, let's come back. Daddy love you. Let's go get some ice cream. Let's go play the video game. Let's go out to eat. Restoration is a big thing. After punishment, time period pass. Okay, let's restore. So that's one of the biggest things that it taught me. Man, I can't emphasize enough how important that your kids are actually human beings.
Yeah.
Because when I listen to people, a lot of people talk that I know people cuss their kids out. I mean, we be in public. I'm talking about dog cuss them out. And I be trying to figure out, what are you trying to accomplish talking to your kids that way? Okay? Because one day, when your child get old enough and grown, you better believe they gonna cuss you back out. You come in this world in Pampers, and if you live long enough, you're gonna go back in Pampers. So what you gonna do when you wearing Pampers and Depends, and you need your child that you cussed out when he was little, embarrassed him in front of his friends? How you think they gonna talk to you? You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? The 360 of it, I think about me as a parent having little kids, and I think about how my parents raised me, and I think about where my parents are at their age in life and where my kids are, and together we are one big circle. And that's how I look at parenting. I look at Christ. My relationship with God is a circle. You got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's a circle. They are one. It's a circle. And so that's how I look at parenting. That's how it has helped me. My relationship with God is the key piece. Between God and my dad, I'd probably be gone if it wasn't for them two. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Question. I think from a woman's point of view, how do you navigate, or how would you advise other young men in navigating having children with different women, but still being present and establishing relationships where you can be present? With Quincy, you got custody, but with the other situations, how would you advise young men in that aspect?
Ooh, if you are in that situation, it's tough. Okay. So my advice to people that are not in that situation is, don't put yourself in that situation. Don't do it.
Prevention
Don't
is
do it.
plan, ain't it?
Prevention is the plan. Don't do it. Okay, because that's a whole nother level of responsibility, and it's a whole nother level of work. I.e., example, I went home to see my youngest son. He's 2. He'll be 3 in July. Okay, and so by doing that, Quincy came home this weekend. Okay, he don't come home every weekend. I missed this weekend with little Quincy. I missed it, and I don't like that. Okay, but I got a 2-year-old now that needs my time a little bit more than Quincy. Quincy's at an age now where he can go a day or two without seeing his dad. He can go a week or two. I told him, but that little one, I'm still developing, nurturing a relationship. He's still getting to know me as his dad. I'm still in the loving side. I ain't got to the discipline, because I believe before you can discipline a child, you got to show them you love them consistently for a period. You just can't come through the door whooping a child. Okay, and so I'm still in the honeymoon phase of fatherhood with my little son Quentin. I'm still loving him, and he's a challenger of circumstances, and so you just have to roll up your sleeves and get to it. I knew Quincy. Quincy told me he was coming home this weekend. This is my weekend to see my youngest son. So Quincy came home Thursday. We spent time a little Thursday. I worked Friday, came home, went home. I knew I had this interview. I wanted to stay with Quentin, okay, longer, but I had this interview, and I wanted to see Quincy before he went back to school. So I came down the highway. He's here now, so I get to see him before he go out of school. So it's a juggling. There's no blueprint, like I was saying earlier. You just have to do what you got to say. You got to prioritize all your kids. You got 3 kids, all 3 of them are priorities. So you got to find out how you gonna spend time with them.
I hear priority, but I hear sacrifice as well. You just gotta be willing to make the sacrifice, be sacrificial. So you saying it like that because you're willing to do it, but from another person's point of view, they see what they may have to sacrifice to be able to be in a position to maintain it. It take a little sacrifice. Like you said, if you wanted to move out your own feeling and movement, it'd be different. But you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, because Queen Mama was frying fish when I left. She was battering it up and everything. I mean, she throwing down, and I wanted some of that fish. I love catfish. That's my favorite fish. And I'm looking at this catfish, and I'm thinking about Quincy. interview. I said, okay, I'm gonna go. So I ain't getting my catfish, and I'm hungry right now. You know what I'm saying? So
Fact.
sacrifice is definitely it's some sacrifice. Cause I wanted to stay here because like I could. She got Wi-Fi. I could have stayed there and did the interview and ate my fish. But then Quincy would have went to school and I didn't see him. And I didn't want him to go back without me seeing him. So I left the fried fish. Oh my God. So it's gonna be some sacrifice. If you are in this situation, just roll up your sleeves, bro. You did it. You created these beings. Ain't no excuses. Handle your business, bro. For real. Do what you got to do. No excuses.
Quincy
I
said,
love it,
"You
but
got
you got to
kids in this world. Handle your business."
handle your business. That's it. That's it.
You know what
That's
I'm
it.
saying?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
For sure. That's it, man. Hey, it's gonna take a lot of sacrifice. That's if you ain't willing to sacrifice, don't have no kids. Yeah, don't do your kids like that. Don't do it. Go waste your time, but don't waste theirs. Because that's what you're doing. When you make kids and don't take care of them and don't make allowance for them and don't make time for them and don't spend time for them and that, blah, blah, you are wasting their time. Okay? And you are doing a disservice to them. Not only them, but their children, their grandchildren, and the community because it's going to have a trickle-down effect. It's going to trickle down. You affected everything that come behind you. Your whole lineage will be affected by you not being a father to your children. Because now your child gonna have to worry. I ain't have my daddy. Now they kind of try to figure out how to be a daddy. How do you be a daddy when you didn't have a daddy? You got to see it first, okay? And if you don't see it, then what are they gonna do? They're gonna look to another male, and they're gonna pattern themselves. Everybody, it blows my mind that people talk about Kobe saying he trying to be like Jordan. Well, who you want him to be like, Kwame Brown? I mean, do you want him to be like the best of what? Like, if I'm trying to beat somebody on the basketball court, no disrespect to Kwame Brown, I'm gonna try to be like Jordan. I'm gonna try to be like Kobe. I'm gonna try to be like LeBron. Like, who you gonna try to be like? The dude
Emulate
on
the
the end of the
greatest.
bench?
They said,
No, I want to be like the GOAT, bro.
hey, no matter how tough Chris Brown is, we have to put him up to a Michael Jackson or something like.
Exactly.
Oh, that's Michael Jackson. Yes, because he
Yeah.
set the
Right.
he set the
Set the
bar.
bar. Yeah. So that makes sense.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
what it is. So that's what kids gonna do. They supposed to look up to their dad, especially the boy. But if you ain't there, bro, he gonna find another man to look up to.
Yeah.
Don't put your son in a position to do that. Don't put your daughter in that position which they got to look up to another man.
You gotta
That's
look.
your job.
You gotta look in the streets.
Handle your business.
Yeah, just was relating to when I heard Cole saying he didn't have a father growing up, so Uncle Phil was his father figure growing up. You know, Fresh Prince, Uncle Phil. You know, off of TV. You know, he had to see what a father looked like through the things he stood for. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Like you said, if we ain't getting our TV, which is now even worse than the '90s, at least we had an Uncle Phil on TV. We got Love and Hip Hop on TV. You know what I'm saying? Now, not saying they don't.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but it's either dead or the streets. Like you're saying, cause
Absolutely.
I was out of all my peers, right? I was one of the few, if not the only. A lot of my circle, like in my inner circle, I was the kid that had the. Now, he coached baseball and basketball. They played on our team. You know, they called him pops, like we did. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I seen that firsthand. I seen how a lot of my brothers, their situations were like in the way they kind of had to come out thinking. You know what I'm saying? But you're right, man. You know, so that I just had to relate that. Like, you're gonna see a father, whether it's the coach in the neighborhood, whether it's the Uncle Phil on TV, or whether it's the neighborhood, whoever that has the notoriety to be around or the most influence. It's one or the other, but it's gonna be some influence there. Why not beat them to the punch if you can? Because even as a father, you still are not saying in competition with those things. Those things still exist when you're a father. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Alone
Absolutely.
a father. I guess that's what I'm trying to say as well, because I saw something. I dealt with something my peers did, but I just had a different level of counseling about my situation than they did. Like, certain things they were doing, like they were crashing out on. I had to counsel, like, no, you're not doing that. No, we're not doing it. I see my people how they move. So even if I just move like they move, I was going to avoid a lot of the things the other people did because they move differently. So it's either seeing it from some type of uncle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, starting in home, man, and you getting a chance to see that from the smallest up. Does it feel a little strange for you in a sense of starting anew? Because, you know, one thing about us Asian, you know, we having kids, right? So when we were young, the younger version of ourselves, and now does it give you a different spectrum to parent out of, even when you're present there?
Well, you know what? The only different perspective for me is I'm not there, and that hurts me because this is my third child. All right, and my daughter, she's successful. She's a nurse. Quincy's been in my house from day one because I was married to his mom, and even when I separated ways, he stayed with me. But now here I am, 46, with a 2-year-old, soon to be 3-year-old. He's not in the house. He's not even in the same city with me. He's 2 hour drive away, so that hurts. Now, as far as me nurturing or being his dad, is anything else different besides the distance? And no, I'm more excited now than I've ever been to be a dad, and this is why. At the age of 2, Quentin, which is my youngest son, is getting a better version of a dad than Quincy or Maya did. I was 18 when I had Maya. I was just a boy. I ain't working at Burger King. I ain't had no resources. I ain't had no wisdom. Just a little boy. My beard hadn't even started growing. I ain't had no chin hair or nothing. So when Quincy came along, I was 26, 27, considerably older than Maya, and I'm figuring it out. Just open up a business. So I'm starting to navigate through life. Quinn came along and I owned a business for over 17 years, got 2 kids out the house. The wisdom I have now and the financial means and the resources and the people that I've come across, he's getting the best version. He's getting the best version for his age.
That's amazing.
Okay, now all of them got the same version of me right now at 46-year-old. They all got the same dad. I'm just as committed to Quinn as I am to Maya, as I am to Quincy. But to be able to grow up with me at this level of maturity where I am, and I'm going to keep going up, he's getting the best version. So he's going to be special. Okay. So now I just have to figure out how I can get more time with him. That's my goal. How can I get more time with my son? That's my thing. Out of everything I've ever done in life, I take the most pride, or I put the most time and energy into being a dad, because they didn't ask to be here. They didn't. They didn't choose their mama, their dad. They didn't choose anything about them. So the very least I can do is be active and proactive in my children's life. So that's the only difference between. Of course, I don't feel old, to answer your question. I know a lot of people my age say, "Oh, I think old is a mindset." I really do. Even though my hair gray and it's a mindset. I still get out there and play basketball. I still play softball. I still go skating. I still do a lot of stuff. Not to toot my horn, I went to the academy and started off with 65 people. We graduated 55. I was the second oldest in the academy. Most of them guys when they early 20s. I had the 4th fastest time. I ran a mile and a half in 9 minutes and 27 seconds. And I don't know if you know how fast that is and what you got to do, but Google it.
Well, I know I worked out
9 minutes and 27 seconds.
I used to work out with a Marine.
Okay.
Exactly.
I graduated. Okay. I graduated the police academy at age 45. Okay. Running a mile and a half in 9 minutes, 27 seconds. When I just tried out for the SWAT team here last year, I had the second fastest time. And we had to do the whole thing with a weighted vest. And it was grueling. It was hot. Second fastest time. So me, I think I'm just getting warmed up. That's the way I look at life. I don't think I'm old at all. I just don't see it like that. And I think your mind, as a man thinking, so is he.
Y'all by saying youthfulness is a spirit, man. You know, I know some of the young living like they living ancient and old in the sense, like not vibrant, not getting outside, not moving, don't want to walk. So I know exactly what you mean. Especially age, letting them do no age. LeBron, I think LeBron is showing that in the sense too. You know, he took care of his body. Yeah. He got the drive still. Your drive is there. What else is there to be in front of you? Wild to get knocked down eventually.
Yeah. It's a mindset and how you approach things. You know how I get to the gym? I go work out. You know how I get there? I jog. I don't drive. I don't drive to the gym. I jog. Jog there, work out, and jog back. And I'd be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you imagine what time I got to get up to go jog to the gym, to work out, to jog back home, and then get cleaned up to go to work. So it's a mindset, man. And my motivation behind doing that is I got a 2-year-old. I can't let my body go down. I can't. This ain't the time. A lot of people my age starting to put their feet up and travel, and eat steaks and sirloin. I got a 2-year-old. I'm eating salad for the first time. I don't even like salad. I'm eating salads and drinking water and jogging to the gym. Why? Because I got a 2-year-old.
Yeah,
I want to be able to play. If he decides to play, A 2-year-old boy, yes, okay, who is showing major little Quincy signs as far as being active and playing ball and sports
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And so if he decides to play sports, I need to be able to do the same thing I did. I need to be able to coach him. I need to be able to run around the bases. I need to show him how to do a push up and sit up. I need to run laps with him. So that's not just gonna happen if I'm just sitting around and I wait 5 years to when he can play and get it. So I have to do it now to keep my body in shape. So that
You prepping for what's to come. You working on the man in him and beyond the boy that he is at right now.
already working on it.
Yeah.
Already working on it. So I got to be able to show him what I want him to do. I got to be able to demonstrate. Hey, this is how you do this, son. Go watch this video. No, watch me.
Yeah.
Watch
I
me.
think that's awesome because that's something else that mothers generally don't instinctively give. Usually they see that, for their sons and their daughters. They see, 2, 3 years. A lot of times, especially as a boy mom, you're just emotionally, more attached to not wanting him to grow, as much. But, men, just fathers, are really just going to see the vision 5, 10 years down the line and deal with them at the earliest age to prepare them for that.
But you know what? The world don't see him as no little boy a lot of times, especially a young black African man in this country. Emmett Till wouldn't have had it. That was a boy. Why would they do? I mean, I'm not trying to stay in a dark mood, because it's still a high vibe
I'm with
that you're saying. But America don't see them boys as boys. And if you do the wrong thing, they're not gonna treat you as a boy. So that's another.
You gonna pay?
Yeah, I'd rather the law come from me than the law get them because they gonna get lost in the system.
That's it. Our laws protect them from their laws.
Yeah. Oh, that's strong.
That's the prevention.
Yeah, that's the prevention.
You follow our laws, you don't have to worry about their laws because you gonna care and conduct yourself in a way where y'all don't have to cross paths out there. And if you do cross paths, you're gonna know how to deal with them. It ain't gonna be no, I know my rights and you can't do this. No. You do that in the court. You don't do that on the side of the road. You see what I'm saying? It's comply. It's yes, sir. Get out the car. Yes, sir. Put your hands on the hood. Yes, sir. You got your license? Yes, sir. You on the rest? Yes, sir. Then you talk to your lawyer. You understand what I'm saying? And then you let your lawyer work that out versus arguing on the side of the road when you're looking at a pistol. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff that's that dad preparing him.
Yeah.
Told him when he started driving, always know where your driver's license is and your insurance is. That way, if you ever get pulled over, by the time he get to the window, you got it in your hand, your seatbelt is on, your hands on 10 and 2, and you don't have to reach for nothing. You don't have to worry about them saying, well, he was reaching. No, it ain't. It's right there in my left hand. It's right there. Never take your seatbelt off, son. Keep your seatbelt on so they can't say you weren't wearing your seatbelt. Have your windows all the way down, all four of them, so they can see through them, so they won't feel like they threatened. Okay? They need to be able to see through your car, all of them. Especially if you got some tint on them, just let all four of them down. That way they feel comfortable coming in your vehicle. So it's just certain things as a dad. You teach your son, the climate of this society, you know what's going on, and you got to have them tough conversations. That's not always a conversation a parent want to have with their kid, but I have it with mine. I can remember telling my daughter when she first went to college, I said, baby, when you go out to drink something and you go somewhere and you're in the club, you with your friends, first of all, if you leave with a friend, you come back with your friend. That's number one. Number two, if you got a drink and you sit your drink down for whatever reason and your eyes come off your drink, you don't drink that drink no more. You go buy your nothing. If you can't afford another one, you two drinking for the night. Now, baby, I'm not telling you to drink. I'm not trying to put that on you, but I understand the age you are. And I remember when I was your age, so I know it's a probability that you're going to drink. I'm telling you this because there are jealous people out there that slip something in your drink. I had these kinds of conversations with my kids. I don't want my daughter to drink. I ain't never want her to drink, but I know it's a possibility she might. So you have to have it. You have to have the sex conversation. You have to have the drugs conversation.
You so deep right now. I feel like it's even it's sad, but because I think it's kind of changed. We don't like Trump a lot of time, but this is one thing I did kind of see that Trump kind of changing the them, they, his, her, male compete with all that. Because now, bro, that's 16, 17, 18. That's cool, but what about 5 and 6? These things are coming at them at 5 now. 4 years old, they're going to school, allowing them to dictate what they feel they are. What do you resonate with? So like if you don't start from the root, you talking about 2 years old, those times where they start to come into their cognitive senses, because we understand a child's most smartest or time that pour into an emotions like 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Now I the educational the specialist, but I had a child at 18 as well, so I had to kind of get it together. And I'm inquired. I quiz it. Like I like to learn. I want to be able to do things the mother could do. I didn't want to just depend on her. So knowing that their window is important now, they're coming for them at that age now. The cartoons ain't the cartoons you grow up with now. When at the end of it, it might be a dust yourself off. We're friends more or it's a them they get fit, fit, whatever they push. It's whatever they push. So it's like I know you're saying like you catch them at the college days and all that, but you're going all the way to the root with yours. You start from as much and you always have believed in that, and you know that that's important, and that's a lot of that. I think that's a good conversation for us as parents now, because back then, don't get me wrong, I think we had weird stuff too, but now it's just it's like an agenda. Like it's just too much. We know it's an agenda at this point. Like we've all seen. Absolutely. I can't watch a show without it, and then it's way more. Especially with the men now, like they do way more with the men than they do with the men and men. Absolutely. I'm like, it take me way too fast. Like some part of the shows, I just fast forward now or something. I'm like, this ain't what I signed up for. So you know what I'm saying? You getting ahead of the curve. It's nice to hear you saying from a college experience, but you also can start as young as a Quinn.
Yeah.
Now.
Absolutely. You have to. You have to. Start from the beginning. As soon as they can. I've never said gaga goo goo to any of my kids. I always talk to them like they can understand. So as soon as they start repeating the words back to that I say to them, I know, okay, they grasp it. And that's when the teaching starts.
Yeah, I believe that.
If I can tell you to touch your head and you touch your head.
I'm like, did they grasp it? Can they get it? Can they get the concept? Can they apply it? Can they acknowledge it?
Yeah, you can hold
what
them
accountable. I love to show my
absolutely
kids at a young age doing great things because we love to like push fun. But I'm like, you can have fun, but see, you can actually take something serious and be working on something, or just take something to have fun doing it. But you can find that earlier.
Absolutely.
I hear you already now. He's showing me qualities that's giving me like what I see like with Quincy athletic. You already identifying skill sets. You know what I'm saying?
I see that too. And because I did it with him, I know what to do. I already know what to do. If this the route he want to take, run it.
Yeah. It's like Potter molding the pottery. Like,
let's go.
Yeah.
Now I can bring your brother. Now I can bring your brother in because he's been there, done this. And then he can come alongside me, and I really can step back more like a coach and let him actually do it because he did it on that level.
Hey, that's a whole other dynamic. Now, once you put it that way, though, that's something special. You talking about keeping up with him, but you got an all-time record-breaking. You know what I'm saying? All-American right there at the same time. Well, that's a hell of a formula. And not a formula multiplies in the sense. The them and him.
Me and Quincy have already talked about it. We have already talked about it. That's what he want to do. That's his guy. Hey, let's rock and roll. Let's go.
But hey, I tell my wife, I say, it's some investment. It's some type of formula. You think Bronny made it with Bron that because it was just money or just because he's his son? Them folks know the formula, bro. They can duplicate the formula and come close to it. Steph Curry dad played ball. You know what I'm saying? Klay Thompson dad played ball. These folks got a formula that they pass down. Not saying the NBA players' sons are gonna make it all the time because we saw instances, but it's saying that they're more closer to the formula than those that maybe never done it at all.
You know,
I'm really speaking from an us point of view, but the first family that came to mind was like the Mannings, like Peyton Manning. They got a Manning right now in high school or college. College I think right now, a Manning right now. And I know Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. So it's always he looking like.
That's okay. We got you. That's okay. We got it. Don't worry. We got this part right here. We're gonna tag you back in a minute. Don't worry about it. Because you like, who is that? That's all right. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Hey, just sit there and do this.
We got it. I took it to the man.
Hey, but you know what though? You know what it tied back to? Well, you name them mayonnaise, but you got to start with Archie though. That's the daddy.
Oh, you right.
You
You
got to
see
start.
how I said Peyton and Eli, but you right.
Yeah,
Before him, it was an Archie. God.
Archie is the daddy. He the one that they got it all from their daddy, and then daddy got Peyton, Eli, then the brother. Now they got a nephew coming up, and you right. It's a formula, and the biggest key to the formula outside of the Most High is the Father.
You show you
Yeah.
show
Braun was the
purpose.
biggest key.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, you brought
and
it.
Braun, I think Braun and brother gonna be more special than him. No disrespect, I like Braun, but Bryce,
Right. Right. Ah.
do you hear me? I
Yeah.
think Bryce gonna really be the one. You look at the balls. Everybody was criticizing LeVar Ball for all this stuff. All three of his boys making big money. That
Yep.
man was being a father. You might not have liked his approach, but he was front and center and proactive with his kids. And all of them are doing well. All of them are doing well. So I'm glad you brought that up because, like I say, that's what happens when a dad is active and proactive in the lives of his children. Everybody's not gonna always understand it. They're not going to agree. There's some people mad that Bronny James is there. They feel like the only reason why he there is because LeBron. Say what you
The
want,
worst
LeBron.
thing he could have did was have a good game like he did recently and show them for well, you know what? He gotta look like
Maybe he is.
now, you know?
Yeah. His dad saw that all the time. He already knew it. Y'all just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about a father. We're visionary. We know what's in our kids, and we know that if I didn't think my son was good enough, no way I would have left my business of 17 years and came down here to the toughest division in the state of Mississippi. 7A football. This is as tough as it gets. Okay. No way I would have came down if I didn't think he could do it. I knew he could. Trained him, I raised him, I coached him, I saw him. I said, we're going to go down there with the big dogs. And he broke 4 records, 4 school records. You know what I'm saying? I never would have did that. You got to know your child and know what everybody can't do it. This ain't for everybody.
Visionary, visionary.
Yeah, I be visionary.
I seen it recently. I forgot why I seen that, but about when fathers come in and start working with their children early on their purpose, you get the Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson. Tiger Woods' dad, I don't know his name. Tiger Woods, Serena. I love they
Joe. Yep.
all the things he persevered. The neighbors was against it. Mm-hmm. The people that was professional couldn't believe it. Exactly. They were trying to fathom how did you have this vision. And I love watching like that story more particular because it showed how detailed his vision was, regardless of somebody else telling him, "Now you got to be you thinking too far for your kid." No, I know exactly how far I'm thinking, and in certain ways you wait about my kid. What I like about them stories too. Them fathers in the stores, you ain't get to. Not saying certain things ain't happen to the can happen to the children, but you got a chance to have a hand in how they handle your kids too. You know what I'm saying? They ain't coming there and take because he's so talented, whisper in his ear and all that type of thing like that, or treat him any kind of way because you're also there to be in his corner, their corner. You know, it shows the father how the father plays a purpose in when they're not saying it's the only formula because even LeBron is an example of no father figure in his life, but somehow he still ends up being this amazing, great person, a player, a father figure. I don't know a person, but
absolutely,
but
absolutely, you're right, man. Because there's a lot of coaches, teachers, and principals have a strong distaste for me because I show up. You ain't gonna do my son any kind of way, and I'm gonna come see about you. He gonna respect you. He gonna yes ma'am and no ma'am and yes sir. But when I send him to the car, you ain't no teacher. And you sure ain't mine. I'm finna talk to you. I'm finna talk to you away. I never talk to you in front of my son because I'm gonna make sure my son respect you. But now we on the same level. We finna have a conversation. I can check some teachers, 2 superintendents, 3 principals, and a gang load of coaches. Because the one thing about coaching, I've never went to a coach and asked a coach after I start. I don't ask for playing time or position. But you're not gonna talk to my son crazy. And when I see you misleading him or lying to her, I'm gonna let him know, set him up straight. Do what your coach doing. He lying to you about this, and this is what you can expect. And I did that with my son all the way through till he graduated. All the way to this past senior year. We sat down, but I talked about it in the book. We sat down before the season started. I'm looking at the preseason, I'm looking at the practice and all this. When he come home, I say, that what he doing, this how it's gonna go, this how it's gonna end. I'm just telling you now, so you'll know. And I be doggone. All the way through the regular season, 10 games, 3 games in the playoff championship. It went just the way I told my son. And I wasn't trying to be rain on a parade or anything like that.
Right.
But when you see something, when God gives you the eyes to see something and gives you the vision, you know, I'm a strong believer. However you practice is how you gonna play. You're not gonna practice one way and then get in the game and play another. It's not gonna happen. Whatever you do, week after week after week after practice, that's what you're gonna do in the game. And so it played out, which is why I was always on him from kindergarten about his grades, about training, and about giving maximum effort. And see, a lot of people look at the success he's having now, but they started when he was 3. We started this in Pampers. So the discipline and the structure and everything you see now, this is just a progression from 3 years old. I don't have to tell my son to go to practice or to go to the weight room or to train and give max effort. We instilled that at 3. So by the time he got to high school, automatic. Like, I ain't never had to say, you got your helmet, you got your cleats, you got your mouthpiece. No, we got that together by 6. He got his bag packed, everything. You just grab the bag, everything in the bag. And so it goes back to what you were saying and what we were talking about, man. Man, fathers. Like I said, it just keeps tying back to the fathers. And this is one thing I won't say this to the mothers right now because you can listen to all this father talking. And if you didn't catch the context, then you'll know. You'll think we think y'all not important and y'all are not obsolete. Y'all are absolutely important. Okay. This don't work. This does not work without y'all. Okay. Y'all are the birthing canal. Y'all are the nurturers. Y'all are the ground, the soil that our children grew in. You are just as important to the equation as the father. Please, if you don't listen to nothing else I said, hear that part. Okay? Y'all are not important. We need y'all, okay? But the point I'm driving home with this is God created fathers and he gave us a special role to protect and to provide, okay? And we're supposed to do that for the entire family. The wife and the children, okay? But in the event that it doesn't work out, which is what my book is about, single fatherhood, then that dad is still supposed to lead that. Even though he's not in the house, when it comes to the direction of that child, he's supposed to take the leadership of it. And that's one thing I can say this. I can give Quinn's mom her roses right now because even though I'm not in that house, she lets me take lead. She lets me make decisions from 2 hours away. She lets me do that, okay? And I'm so thankful for that. And we have a beautiful relationship. We have a great co-parenting relationship, and I don't have any issues with him. And I'm thankful for that. And to all women, I can't say this enough either. If it don't work out between you and your husband or your boyfriend and y'all got kids, you need to be the biggest supporter of your children and their father's relationship. You need to help facilitate that. Did you talk to your daddy today? Pick up the phone and call your dad. These are things I did for him, for Quincy. You talk to your mom today? Pick up the phone and call your mom. Okay? Because she's important.
I believe
you talk to her today?
We support we support the same thing.
Yeah.
From a household as well. And she'll always have my child with me or whatever. But whatever the time she would come with me, like, man, I would actually sincerely ask her to check in on that, because that's kind of how I would feel if I was in that situation. How to talk to that parent, how we got a relationship with them, and just teach them how communication start with us. That ain't nobody else's responsibility.
That's it.
That's it. Well, you have anything else?
No, man, it's been pretty free flowing, man. Yeah. I think. Thank you, Sharon. You planted a beautiful seed. I feel like a lot of things expound
from that. Which is good interviews usually really flow. So
and two, it helps resonate with because it's not a flesh led thing. We're not trying to, boasting. We're ruling it. Like I say with the Iron Fisher, we're ruling because it's just more showing the vulnerability and the necessity and the spiritual background. We need that Christ light because man don't have a spiritual foundation like that, man. Not only is he's gonna spiral and be all over the place, the household will as well. So going back to the anchor that starts it all, the grace. the grace that we get from the Most High that even allowed us to have the children, the same thing that anchors everything that we do. And I think him to say on there and say it's not just saying me are more important, but in this society we also need to say that me are important. Because I be saying some women and some of the narratives like if they had a mom alone, they're just good, and I'm not for that one. I'm not saying that mom can't do a great job and that they still can prevail, but let's not push the narrative that the man is not equally as important.
Yeah.
Let's just say we're equally important. We are both needed in the equation. So this is showing what the value could be if a man or when the man is being who he is created to be naturally. And that's whether you guys agree. I mean, that's not an agree are together or no longer together as well. Not being together or not seeing eye to eye relationship, but not letting that get in the way of needs.
And let me just add to this, because when you were saying that, I was thinking about this when it comes to me as a single parent. In the book, I don't know where it comes from, but it says, "My grace is sufficient. God's grace is sufficient." I think that's in Corinthians or something. And nothing that I've done as far as raising Quincy, none of the good stuff that you see, none of the accolades, the good grades, none of that stuff. I don't take credit for any of that. I pass that along to the Most High.
Yeah.
He gave me the wisdom that I've been operating this wisdom that I've been operating in since I've been raised. It's not my wisdom.
Right.
It comes from Him. I asked Him for it. I prayed for it from the very beginning. The vision I got to raise him and what to do, the move and all. That's all God inspired. Okay, I'm not that smart. Okay, I'm not that. I'm not trying to be fun. I'm not that smart. Okay, I'm not saying I'm dumb, but it takes God to raise a child, to produce a Quincy. It and so I said all that to say is that same grace that He gives women, because y'all have it. If that father has to be the number one guy, if he has to be the one to raise, He will give it. God said, "Asking it to be given, seeking you shall find, knocking the door shall be open." I asked for wisdom. Before He left, before it was all said, the first thing I did is I prayed that God don't let me mess him up. And I prayed for wisdom, and I still do. I talk about that in the book as well. So this is not a braggadocious thing on me. Raising my son is not about me. There's nothing that I desire to take glorify, give all that glory to the Most High God. Like I said, I was just an instrument and a tool He used to get him. But I just had
to proud of that though as well though, because like you said, it's not a brag, man. But it's a proud. That's something to be proud of, man. Not just in today's time, but that's the real legacy. That's your real.
Absolutely.
That should live beyond you. And you have the right to be proud of them. But like I said, that album make it seem like that's just a woman thing. Like we love to see our kids prosper, and we may lay the law and have to be who we have to be, but that don't take away our love or our passion for their life, and just to see them be full, in all ways and what they do. So I just want to say, you do deserve to toot the horn and tell. I get what you're saying. I appreciate humble you, but we need to see the stories of fathers being in the family and overcoming. Like I said, I'm giving an example. These ain't little example. Michael Jackson, Tiger Woods. These things become some of the bigger things, and not only be able to take care of just their family, communities, and other families off of what they created in their home. And y'all story is still being wrote, so that's why I'm talking in a sense of how I'm talking, because I'm put a ceiling on y'all. This ain't what y'all done. This is what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. I like that. Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Well, I don't have anything else. I just love the story. I love seeing it firsthand, and I definitely love the mindset to be encouraging to other fathers. And I think that it definitely will produce that, and I just love the vision for it. So that being said, I do think that it will be a vehicle to bring the community together. I see the vision in that aspect, but more than anything, I think it's going to restore the fatherhood relationships as well, and that's what you did. You started in house, and then it's like, now let's expand it, because one of the resounding messages in any community that's high violent and crime, especially our home community, is father, and that's a huge issue. And so this is a movement. It's definitely it's a calling, and we know that you're committed to, to seeing it through. So um that being said, I don't have anything else. If you want to leave a special message to those that have pre-ordered or just the general audience, you feel free to do so
Okay.
at the moment.
Okay.
We're gonna sprinkle it and do our little thing
Okay.
with it. So you got
Okay. Okay.
it.
Well, look, special thank you to everyone who has pre-ordered Custody Call and Commitment. It means so much to me. This is my first project, but it definitely won't be my last. Okay. You have a special place in my heart. I can actually see who pre-ordered, and so at some point I'm going to make contact with you. I will reach out to you personally if I can get you and give you a personal thank you. But again, thank you so much. This is so much deeper than the book. It is a movement, and we're trying to reach fathers and help build our communities and families. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in. And hey, if you did not pre-order, that is not a strike against you. Okay, still you can get the book. This is for men, women, boys, and girls. All right, so y'all come on in and support. Don't forget our merchandise online, and don't forget about the book signing day. We look forward to seeing you all. We love you so much. Thank you so much.
You ready for this speech?
You think I'm ready? Am I ready for it?
You sound like a
Hey, let's
professional over
do it.
there.
Let's go. All praise to the Most High.
All praises. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap this up, and then I know we have another thing to take care of,
Okay.
so I'm just gonna end this, and then
Okay.
we'll have that.
Cool.
All right.